Okay, this is Rembrandt von Rijn, Self-Portrait with Saskia. It is an etching, which is a technique that we need to look a little more closely at in class so that you can see it be done, but I'll explain it here. And I'd love you just to kind of see that this is one form of printmaking. And we have earlier seen an engraving done by Albrecht Dürer, right, the Adam and Eve piece. And Rembrandt was famous for his etchings, which just shocks me because I'm familiar with more of his paintings. Uh, he is considered the best etching artist in the world. Others have rivaled him, but still he has this, since he was even in the time that he was making them, people, at the time considered him an incredible etcher and were collecting his pieces. So he made 290 different etching plates. 79 are still in existence, and I learned this morning that 75 of them are in North Carolina. One former lawyer owns all 75. Wow. Okay, and so if you want to buy one of his a print from his etching, they're about $84,000. Poor guy, he died penniless. He was buried in the graveyard of his local church, um, in the poor, in the poverty area. So let's take a little more of a closer look here at this self-portrait with Saskia. What makes his work amazing is that he, through etching, is able to create these various ranges of tones, right? We go from really dark here to light over here, but he captures emotion as well, and he is in the Baroque era, right? An era of drama, an era of emotion, and that's clearly being seen here, an era of movement. The way he created these tones was through cross hatching. So we have a really minimal cross hatching here across the, her band or across her forehead, but here we have really intense cross hatching. And the more cross hatching we have, the deeper the tone. And so we have this creation of light and dark. Um, Form, he clearly has got depth going on here too, right? Uh, he probably created Saskia first. We could see that because his overlapping of his own shoulder and arm illustrates that. And then he worked himself a little bit bigger, and he worked in himself more. So he just is creating this comparison of the two, with light and dark, and he's got himself more forward. So just a difference here. He's not more significant than she is. It's just a way of making the two of them contrast. Um, Pretty incredible, and to create depth in his piece. The technique. So Rembrandt worked with copper plates, which I think is pretty common, and he did it with varying sizes, from a size of a postcard to I think it's like 21 by 25 centimeters is his biggest piece. So, right, bigger than a piece of notebook paper, but not huge. Um, so the way this worked is you take a copper plate and you cover it with wax. And then you use a metal instrument to go through the wax. And whatever copper you have revealed, that's going to be your art piece. And then you dip or apply acid over the top, or dip the copper into acid, and the acid eats away at the parts that you have revealed, the part where you've taken the wax off. It's called biting into the plate. And those are his exposed lines. Uh, it's dicey, right? A, it's technical. It's right, a chemist almost at work, and so people who did this a lot, lost some of their mental faculties dealing with that acid. But he's considered such an expert at this. Pretty amazing. He did that stuff all himself. Okay, he's wearing a costume, right? He's got this jaunty hat on. She's wearing an old-fashioned veil. And um, in terms of content, this is just him exploring with these self portraits. And he does this often in self portraits. He wears different clothing. He had like, what did I say, 79 different self portraits of himself, something like that. What is the number? Yeah, 75 self portraits. Okay, and then the function of this particular piece is that it's illustrating their intimate marriage. This was 2 years or so after they were married. He was in love with Saskia, and this would have been a pretty private piece. I mean, there's no naked body here, but it is just a capturing of their marriage. I'd be remiss if I didn't just show you some of his paintings, so I'm just going to show you some of his paintings that place him in the Baroque era of art and in style. So, right, we've got all this, look at this incredible lighting. So these are paintings. What makes this one famous, the anatomy lesson of Dr. Nicholas Tulip, is that he placed the figures rather than kind of in a straight line in chairs and some people standing up. He just differed that position, which is seems simple, but it was a real transformation at the time. And I think he painted that when he was 20. Right. Look at the use of right tenebrism here, chiaroscuro, dark and light. Right? Use of light here, angles to create some drama going on, right? St. Paul in prison and two old men disputing, and there's two more self-portraits for you. Look at the use of light. Look at the tenebrism here. He painted obviously in some serious oil, lots of layers of oil, and this is the piece that I this is my favorite. Um, I have this in a magnet on my fridge. And this is a Night Watchman painting. It was like 15 feet wide. T- Incredible use of dark and light tenebrism. And this is his wife, Saskia, when she was young. He painted this, though, after she had died. Um, More self portraits, more etchings for you to see the incredible depth that he was able to create in this. Here's a dog pooping in one of his, right, look at these Romanesque, right, plaster. And finally, this is Three Trees. This is his most famous landscape piece. There's a carriage here going off in the distance, a fisherman in the foreground, but it shows the landscape and the active sky. So Rembrandt, Van Ryn, self portrait with Saskia, and it's an etching in Baroque era.